Mirabel Sites went through an accounts receivable update in early March, and we've been monitoring and analyzing feedback from our clients since then. And today I'm going to focus on the major points of that update as well as some enhancements which we are adding in response to your feedback. These enhancements will be available on your site with our next update, which is anticipated probably by mid-May. So you'll have something to look forward to. As a participant, I'd like to remind you that you're all in listen-only mode. Remember that if you have questions, you can use the GoToMeeting questions window during the webinar. We've got consultants standing by to respond to your questions in real time. Participants will all get a link to view the recorded webinar along with the questions and answers afterwards. You are looking at my screen right now, and this is the new contact layout. Some of you are already on this version with your software. Others are getting ready to convert soon. So this will give you another taste of using that new layout. I'm going to show you in the help section where you can see our webinars and sign up for future webinars. And the help section, I'll remind you, is tucked away in this icon up in the upper left-hand corner. I'm going to go into the help section. This looks familiar. It's the same help site that you're used to. And I'm going to go down to the webinars section. You can see that you can view all of our past webinars by clicking past webinars, and you will see them. The most recent webinar will always be at the top of the page. And then as new webinars come along, it will be replaced and put in the appropriate category down below. So after this webinar is finished, you'll be able to come into past webinars and you'll be able to watch and view as well all of your users right here, and also view the webinar questions and answers. For future webinars, these will be posted in the upcoming webinars section. You'll be able to come back, take a look, see what's coming up in the future. And also, when we get close to time for the webinar, there will always be a pop-up, which was put up this week. A lot of you signed up from that pop-up for this particular webinar. So you'll always have that opportunity to click to sign up, and all participants will get the recording afterwards. Also in the help section is our Contact Us area. I'm going to highlight that for just a second. You'll see all of our software consultants' contact information is down below, and we all have a link to click and request training time or meeting time on our calendar. You click, you go straight into our calendars, you see our available time, and you simply choose the date and time that is best for you. Remember, our standard software support plans all have at least 4 hours of free training per year. And when you have used your free training, then training is billable at $125 an hour in 10-minute increments. If you're not sure how many training hours your plan has, contact your software consultant. We will let you know. We have all that information for you. Okay, we're going to get started now, and I'm going to touch base with an overview as to what we're doing with our accounts receivable and what we did with the recent update. We are now making it possible to balance payments to the customer account and applications from the customer account at the product level, so that all of our clients who manage and report their accounts receivable at the product level or the business unit level will have more accurate reporting at that level. What do we mean by that? Well, funds that are received into the customer account that have not been assigned to a product will be automatically transferred to the correct product when you apply those dollars to an invoice, automatically behind the scenes. The Accounts Receivable for Aging Prepay Apply Report is a tool that lets you batch apply prepayments to invoices. It's going to prevent accidental application of funds that you've already reserved for one product. You're not going to be able to apply those funds to another product in error when you're paying an invoice. But you still have the flexibility to do that if you need to transfer funds to have them available to apply to an invoice. You can do that on the receive payment page. And we're going to be going through all of that in the webinar. All of these changes are laying the groundwork for an exciting update that's coming up later this year. And that is something that a lot of you have been asking for, the ability to accept a prepayment from an advertiser and assign that to specific contracts that are in the system. They haven't been billed yet, but they do have the contracts in the system, and we want to go ahead and apply that prepayment to those contracts and simplify and streamline the process of billing and payment applications. So again, that's coming, and it's coming later this year. Another part of the update that we did resulted in changes to the Receive Payments page. We'll be seeing that. We'll be looking at that. We've included the customer ID in the search criteria, and we've made it easier to identify the invoices that you're paying. You no longer have to open a separate drop-down menu to select those invoices. It's all going to be right there on the same page. And that new Receive Payment page has the ability to prompt you when needed if you need to transfer funds from one account to another, one product to another, when you're posting payments from the customer account. And again, we're going to look at transactions and examples of all of this. We've also standardized your menu a bit. We had different, some of our clients had the newest versions of our accounts receivable reports. Others may have not yet. So we've standardized everyone's menu now. Everybody has the newest version of the invoice search, the payment screen, the statements creation screen, and we've taken down those older versions that are no longer supported. So we're all on the same platform so far as selecting those reports in our system. And all sites now have available to them reporting at the product and the business unit level with your accounts receivable aging reports and your transaction reports. First thing I'm going to do when we start talking about our accounts receivable information is I'm going to go into the invoice creation screen. We're going to do a quick review there. I'm going to go to Customers, Accounts Receivable, New Invoice. And the first thing it's going to prompt me to do is select my template, which I'm going to do. And I wanted to point out a very important aspect of this page for you to look at. You will see in the right-hand corner of the page an option to consolidate invoices for billing contact and a checkbox. You can check, you can uncheck that. It's very important that you see this in your Receive Payment screen. If you don't, then we need to get you updated to a newer version of your invoicing platform in accounts receivable, and you should contact your software consultant. We'll get that taken care of for you immediately. If your invoicing screen looks like this, no reference to consolidated invoices over here, and a reference to multiple selections per invoice on the left side, we need to upgrade you. So please get in touch. Let us take care of that for you as soon as possible. Once we get into this page and we select the template, I'm going to go through and just quickly create my invoices for my May 1st issue because let's say I'm a publisher and I'm getting near the end of April. I want to have those May 1 invoices in my customers' hands on May the 1st. I don't want to wait until then to do the invoices. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to select next month's date in the filter at the top. I'm going to show all of my records on one page. And in this instance, I'm not going to filter by product. I want to invoice everybody all in one set. So I search, and I see that I have about 29 people with May invoices. I'm going to select all of these invoices, and I'm going to change my invoice date and due date. Very important. I'm going to go through and choose May 1st for my invoice date. And since my terms are net 30, and I've changed this, I'm going to change the due date also to May 30th. Okay, now I'm ready to create my invoices. And I'm going to close this screen at this point. From there, we're going to go through and we're going to start looking at the pages that have changed. First of all, we're going to talk about the Receive Payments page, and that's found under Customers, Accounts Receivable, Receive Payment. Okay. As you look at this, you may notice that this is new, at least new in the past 2 months. There's the search criteria that you're used to, plus searching for the by customer ID also, if you have your customer ID and you want to find your account that way rather than the company name or the invoice number. I'm going to pull up a customer Seventh Wave Recording. You notice with the new Receive Payment screen, it's going to fill this in as you start typing, just like our other new search screens. I'm going to click Search, and I'm going to see my list. I have one company, so I'm going to click this arrow to open up my company. And on this case, this is an advertiser. You can see that they still have a little barter outstanding, but they've paid all of their invoices. You can see that they have a zero balance on their invoices. They also have a little bit of extra money in their customer account, which I can tell by clicking this, and I can see all the ins and outs on the customer account. I'm going to say that I'm getting a check from this client. I got a check in the mail, so I'm going to enter this check, payment method check, put my check number in here, and I'm going to put my check amount, which is $1,000, and I'm going to leave the payment date blank, so it's going to choose today as the payment date. I can apply this to a product if I want to. If I'm accounting from my accounts receivable on a product basis, I'm going to pick a product and apply it to there. And it looks like everything is TP News with these guys, so I'm going to do that. I could also leave it unassigned. Either way, I'm going to click and I'm going to apply that payment to the customer account. My transaction successful. You can see that now that's also showing up in the customer account. It's as simple as that to post a payment from a check or a Visa. Next, I'm going to go through and I'm going to choose another customer. I'm going to go back to my search screen and I'm going to pull up a customer. I have a customer 1&1 Internet. See, when I start typing, I see it in here twice. I don't know which one I want. I'm going to hit enter. And you see I see two companies up here. I see the company name, the contact name, if I know the customer ID, or if I know the first name and the last name on the account, I'm going to know which one of these to select. Well, we've had feedback from this Receive Payment screen, and we're making some changes to put some additional information on here, beginning with that May upgrade. And I'm going to show you a screenshot on the new payment screen. You can see 1&1 invoices. You can see my customer ID, my first name and my last name. I also show you who is the primary sales rep on the account, how much money do they owe, and how much barter do they have outstanding. Again, this is going to simplify knowing which customer to select when you are receiving your payments. And this is going to be available probably mid-May. So I'm going to close this screenshot again, and we're going to select, I know it's customer 1485, I'm going to select this customer, and I am going to, I see that there is a credit balance in their customer account. There's their charges, there's their payment. I can click here and I can see all the ins and outs, and I can see that their most recent payment went to product TP News, and it was prepaying their May invoice. And here you go, $880. Now, we've got another improvement coming in May when you're looking at this payment details screen, because you can see the ins and outs. What you can't see is how much money is available to be applied to each product in the system. So let me just take a moment and show you how this Receive Payment screen is going to look after our next update. You'll see, again, all the transactions for a customer will show at the top, and you can see an ongoing running total. And then at the bottom, you will see a total by product. in this customer. On this particular site that we're looking at here, there's 880 that was not applied to any particular product. There was 13,000 that was applied to this product, and here is our grand total. And this grand total will reflect the amount that's showing on your received payment screen, which would be right here, the credit balance in the customer account. So again, we're going to have some more information for you as you look at that customer account screen. But right now, I'm just going to apply a payment. I'm going to choose customer account as my payment method, and I'm going to apply $880. And I'm going to choose the invoice that I want to apply that to, and that's going to be this one. There's my $880 outstanding. And payment date, this invoice is dated May the 1st, so I'm going to need to use a payment of May the 1st. I can't apply a payment to an invoice before the invoice existed. So I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to choose May the 1st. I've got my customer account, 880. I'm going to click the pay button, and my payment transaction has been successful. And now you can see there's no more balance available in the customer account, and there is no longer a cash balance due on an invoice. So that's an example of a simple applying a payment to an invoice. The product that the funds were in matched the invoice that was available. No transfers at all made behind the scenes. Very easy, very simple. Okay, we're going to look at one more customer, and we're going to look at some more customer account transactions and how you would handle them on this screen. So I'm going to go back to my search, and I've got a company in here, AAA Media. I'm going to type in my AAA and click on AAA Media in the drop-down and search. And here's my customer. I'm going to select this customer. And now, what do I have here? They have about $5,100 that's in their customer account. They also have some open account balances that are still there, some payments that have not been applied. So I'm going to do a few different things on here. First of all, there is nothing in the barter account for prepayments or money to be applied. Let's say that this $1,000 has already been received. Okay, I'm going to post a receipt of the barter transaction. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to do a payment type of barter. I'm going to do $1,000, and I'm going to put a memo. Maybe this was trade for exhibit booth. And I'm going to post this payment. I'm going to post this payment with the date that I actually got the tickets, which happened to have been April the 25th. So you see you can change these payment dates in the screen. I'm going to click pay. I picked the wrong invoice. There we go. Now I'm going to click my pay button. My transaction's been successful. So that's a simple direct barter payment that we've posted. Now, let's say that I just received in the mail $1,000 cash from this customer. So I need to post this cash payment, and this payment was made as a payment, partial payment on this March invoice. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to record this as a check. I'm going to put my check number in here. I'm going to put my check amount, which was $1,000, and my payment date. I got the check in the mail yesterday, but let's say I make my bank deposits every Friday, and I want to show that Friday's date in my accounts receivable so that I'm balancing out. I can pull my total deposits from the 28th, and I can compare it to what I put in the bank on the 28th. If I'm doing that, I'm going to choose a payment date of tomorrow in this example. Okay, there's my check. I'm going to choose the invoice. I'm going to partially pay this $1,900 invoice. I'm going to click the pay button. My payment transaction has been successful. Now I have $900 due on this invoice. And I'm going to go ahead and apply some of the payment from the customer account to finish the payment of the cash portion due on this invoice. So I'm going to come up to the top and I'm going to do customer account, and I'm going to pay $900 on this, and I'm going to apply this. This was a March invoice. I'm going to go ahead and apply this payment with a March 31st date because we had already received the payments by that time, and I want this to go ahead and reflect that the payment was posted and received in the same month that the invoice was due. So I'm going to choose a date of March 31. And again, I'm just going to pick my date. I've got my customer account and my amount. I've chosen the right invoice. So there we go. Payment transaction is successful. Now that invoice has gone away. Okay. Now, I'm also going to pay off these April the 1st invoices. You can see that we have $3,000 that's open in invoices from April. And I have $4,200 available in my customer account. So I'm going to make this payment too. And I'm going to go down the line. I'm going to select this. I'm going to select these invoices. I'm going to select payment account of customer amount. And I'm going to choose my $400. And I'm going to use a payment date of April 1 because that was my invoice date. I'm going to go ahead and apply it as of the invoice date. I'm going to click the pay button and look what happens. This is showing me the money that I have. When I collected the last $4,100 of the $4,200, I posted it to the product photography tips. That might have been a mistake. It could have been that I should have posted this to ABC Magazine all along or ABC Newsletter, and I want to transfer the funds and I want to use those funds to pay the invoice. Okay? Or it could be that that money was posted to photography tips for a reason and I can't use that. If that's the case, I'm going to cancel out and I'm going to leave that money sitting there and I'm not going to apply it to this invoice. But if I do want to apply it, I'm going to click the pay button and I'm going to choose to transfer $100 from photography tips. And I'm going to click pay. And now you see it's going down the list. My next line item was also $100. I'm going to transfer that from photography tips. It's down to $4,000. I'm going to pay that. Now I'm down to $3,900. I keep transferring it out and paying the invoices. I'm going to pay the last two invoices again. I'm going to transfer that from photography tips, and I'm going to transfer one more time, and I'm going to make a payment. So you can see that if you have funds that are available, but they've been assigned to another account, it's your choice. You can look at it, you can see where the money is, and you can either choose to pull that money out and apply it to an open invoice, or you can cancel the payment transaction because that money should be reserved in another account. All right, that's taking you through the options that you have and how you can apply your payment to these invoices. Now I'm going to show you one more thing. Now when I click on this customer account, you can see here are the transfers that I made. These are the payments that I posted on April the 1st. Here is $100 transferred from Photography Tips to the e-newsletter and applied to the e-newsletter invoice. And again, you see it again. Each time I paid an invoice, the system behind the scenes moved the money from the original product to the product that I'm paying an invoice and applied the payment to the invoice. So it's keeping everything in balance. It's making these transfers. It's doing it for you behind the scenes based upon your responses on this receive payment screen. And that's going to keep all of your products in balance. Okay. We're going to move forward and we're going to start looking at some accounts receivable reports at this point. So I'm going to go into Reports, Accounts Receivable, and I'm going to choose my favorite first, the Accounts Receivable Aging Summary. This has a few changes in some of your sites, because you'll notice that you can sort by business unit, search by business unit, you can search by product, or you can search by sales rep. Or you can simply pull a list of all your accounts receivables for all units, all products, all reps. You have radio buttons. You can choose Open Accounts Receivable, which includes everything. You can choose Open Cash. You can choose Open Barter. So you can filter the results accordingly. And you have an as of date here at the top of the report. This as of date is going to determine what shows up in your summary. For example, when you load this page, it has today's date. Today is April the 27th. I'm going to click View, and I'm going to look at my aging summary. Okay, something looks wrong. I just finished billing my May the 1st invoices, but I don't see the invoices on this report. What have I done wrong? Well, I've used a date of April the 27th. So if I want to see those invoices that I created on May 1, I need to come down here and choose May 1st, and then there they are. There are the invoices that I just created, and now all the aging on this report is the aging as of May the 1st for the invoices that are open. Okay? We're giving you one more little benefit in this upgrade that's coming out in May. We're going to give you some alert messages that you'll see when you pull this report. For example, there are 3 different messages you may see popping up. Okay, one, if you have post-dated invoices, this is what's going on right now with the report that we're looking at. I have open post-dated invoices, May the 1st, that do not show on this aging report. Please adjust the as of date accordingly to see these items. Well, that's what I just did. I pulled it as of April the 27th, and I realized I was missing some of my invoices, and I re-pulled it as of May the 1st. Well, now you're going to get a little warning message or a little reminder message, so you'll know. You can continue to pull it as of today's date, but if you want to see everything, you know you've got some invoices further out, and you're going to need to change those dates. So just a little alert message for you as you're using this report. We have a couple of other messages that are going to be popping up as needed. This one is maybe there's some invoices that are as of this date, but they have been paid with a post-dated payment. So in that case, the invoices would show as outstanding on this summary as of this date, even though if you look at them at a later date, they've really been paid. So again, that's a warning message, because you have a lot of flexibility in this accounts receivable system. We let you post payments with today's date. We let you post it with a future date. And we also let you post it with a past date. So as you have that flexibility to post your payments as of different dates, you just need to be aware that when you pull these summaries, the date that you put in here is important. And we have these little reminders just to let you know that you've got some things going on that you may want to reconsider the date that you're using on here. Okay. Finally, there's a third warning. Maybe you have some prepayments showing as available on this date that have been applied to with a post-dated payment date, so that these really are no longer available. So that's another warning message that you see. So be aware as you go forward and we have this next update roll out, you'll see these messages. You can continue to use the dates you're using, or you can rethink and update your dates to include everything that has been post-dated. Okay. Now we're back at the accounts receivable summary as of May the 1st. You'll notice you can drill down with this summary. You can click here. You can go to a customer record, and my contact record will load. You can drill in any of these lines, and you can see the details. What's in this $1,900? Okay, it's these 2 invoices, and I could drill down even more if I wanted to look at the invoice. So these are really powerful reports. You can drill down and see a lot of detail. When you get to the prepay or the credit column, again, you can click there and you're going to see the same prepay detail that we've been looking at before. And remember, you're going to have a new item showing at the bottom of these that will show the prepayments up above, all the transactions, and then down below you'll have totals by product that add up and equal to this total of $2,500 over here. So we've saved you the trouble of going through and trying to calculate product by product where your money is and what's available. Okay. That concludes looking at the accounts receivable aging summary, but we have a couple of other accounts receivable aging reports that are similar. If we look at the accounts receivable aging detail, then here we go. Same type of search criteria as you saw in the AR aging summary. You click view. Difference is you're going to see the detail, not a summary, and it's going to be arranged by aging bucket. You can still click and drill down and look at an invoice if you want to see that invoice, and you'll see some invoices that are all zeros. These are actually not invoices. If you look over here, you see that there's a negative amount due for these. These are prepayments that are sitting in the customer account that have not been applied to an invoice yet, and they will fall into the current column, the current bucket on your AR aging detail report. Next report we want to look at is the accounts receivable transactions report. I'm going to go to reports, accounts receivable, and I'm going to go into the transactions detail. This report, this is an awesome report. If you haven't been using it, you need to take a look at it and start exploring what it can do for you. It's going to default to month to date, whatever month you happen to be in. There's your start date of April 1st, your ending date of April 27th, which is today. And it's going to show you, if I click display, it's going to give you your total changes in your accounts receivable balance. And it starts out at a very high summary level at the top, goes down to breakdown totals by type, and then at the bottom you have all the details that make up these numbers up above. It's broken down into barter and cash and total. And as you look at this, you'll see, okay, here's my grand total. At the beginning of this period, my beginning balance was $707,238.18. I billed $15,000 or a little over $15,000. I got in payments of a little over $11,000, and there's my ending accounts receivable balance in total. Now you want to come down a little lower, and you're going to look and you're going to see we invoiced $15,000. I want to look down here, and I just want to see those invoices. I don't want to see everything else that's down there. So I'm going to click, and it's going to filter my display in the bottom. It's going to show me, here's my $15,391.67, so I can see exactly what that was. Okay, I'm going to go back and just pull this up for the full report again that we were looking at. These items down here will show you, these are payments that have been applied to invoices in this section. And you can see $400 was applied from the customer account. That's what I did just now on the receive payment screen that we were looking at. That's that $400. Because remember, that's the only payment that I applied with an April date. I did another payment on account, but I believe I used a March date, so therefore that's not showing in this particular transaction report. Remember, these are the transactions in this date range. So there's the payment from the customer account. Product transfers, you're going to see this on this report, and because this is a grand total, it's not reporting on a product or a business unit. It's always going to equal 0. You're going to have your details down here. Here's your product transfers, your ins and your outs, but in the grand scheme of things, they equal to 0 here. You can show your payments from customer account going against the invoice here, coming out of the customer account right here. Okay, payments by check. I only want to see the payments that were posted to my invoices by check. I click that 3,200, and there it is. Boom. I want to see my total payments of $10,080. I'm going to click here, and here are my total payments of $10,080, which is actually the net difference of the cash and the customer account payments that were posted. So that's our transactions report. You can export this if you click this and you click on your export file. You can pull up and you can look at your spreadsheet and you can see all the details from this transaction report. Right there, you can sort, whatever, have all your details. This report is also great. It's great to use in total when you're balancing out. Maybe you want to balance your total checks, your total credit cards, your total write-offs, etc., to your general ledger. You can pull this report for either a month or a day or a week. If you're talking to a customer, however, this is another good way this can be used. Let's pull up our friend AAA Media. I'm going to search for them. I'm going to click display beside their name, and you can see just the transactions for AAA Media right here on this report. They started out with a credit balance of $3,200 in their account. We invoiced them $3,400. We received a barter payment of $1,000 in this time period. Those were the trade for the exhibitor booth. And then here's our grand total. They now have a total balance at the end of the period of $200. And you can see all the payments that they made. If you want to see the this barter payment, you can click and you will see that that was down here. You can see any of the detail that you need to see. And if you want to see details on this payment, you can look at that and you can see it was a barter payment, it was a trade, and it was posted on the 25th. So this is great for talking to your customers when you need to go over what they have, how they sent a check to you, how you applied the check, how they thought the check was applied. This is an awesome report. That's your transaction report. You have two other versions of a transaction report in the system. I'll show you the differences. Unlike the aging summary, you have different versions of your transaction report to do different things. It's not all in one. Here is our transactions by zone. And I'm going to show you the difference when I pull this for everybody there. This was my main transactions report. If I come into my transactions by zone and I pull this report, and I didn't select a zone, so this is for everything, you can see that my totals here are exactly the same thing as my totals here. It's all pulling from the same database. But let's say I want to pull this for, where's that product that we were using before? I want to look at TP News, and I want to display that. Now I'm seeing only the balance on invoices for TP News, only the payments on the account that were received and allocated to TP News, only the money that was allocated there. So again, this is letting you report on the product level, and for you companies that balance to the product, each product's accounts receivable is a different list. This is what you will be using. Then there's a third transactions report that's by business unit. And if I look at this and I display it without choosing anything, again, I have exactly the same numbers right here at the top of the page that I had on the transactions by zone on the transactions report, and that I did have on the transactions by zone before I filtered it. So when I come back here, notice you can sort this by company name, which is the default sort. Everything's in order of company. Or you can sort it by product. And now when I pull this up, the sort order down below, instead of being sorted first by company, it's sorted first by product. Here's 3 items that were not linked to a product at all. They were payments to customer accounts. And then here you can see the different products that they were applied to. And if I want to report based upon business units, I can come down here and choose my ABC Magazine All Zones. That's one of my business units, and I can display the report, and I can see these are the receivables, and these are the changes in accounts receivable for ABC Magazine, all of my zones. So again, this lets you report based upon the product, based upon the zones. And when you're reporting on the product or the business unit, you will notice that I don't see, let's see, let me go back in. If you had transfers between this business unit and other business units, or transfers among the products, your product transfer number would show up here and it would not be a 0. This particular example, I don't have that. But when you're looking at it in total, it's always going to net out to 0. When you're looking at it for a specific zone or a specific product, it may not net to zero because perhaps you had received the money in another product and then you have to transfer it in to make a payment. So that's going to be the difference in these different reports. Okay, that's our transactions report. I want to take you now from looking at the reports and looking at the creating the invoices and the payments on the reports. I want to take you to the invoice search. So I'm going to go to accounts receivable invoices. This is our invoice search page. And this too has been changed in the last few months. Many of you had already been using this invoice search page, but it's still new to a few of you. When you look at this, you'll see a lot of different search criteria. You can search by company name, you can search by invoice amount, you can search by invoice date range, by sales rep, by billing info. Lots of different ways you can do this search. You'll notice that it defaults to open invoices. If you want to see every invoice, even the ones that are $0 or have been paid, you should come over here and choose all, not open, because open literally will only bring up the invoices that are not paid. You could also choose only your open barter. I'm going to run a search on that really quickly and see what I have. These are the open barter invoices in my system. Or you could choose the closed invoices, or you could choose the past due invoices on your invoice search, any of these. Most of the time you're either going to be using open or you're going to be using all. I'm going to run a search for all invoices, and I'm going to use those May 1st invoices that I just created. So I'm going to use an invoice date from May 1st to May 1st. And I'm going to search. And this is going to pull up my list of those invoices that I just created. I want you to notice a couple of things. Number one, here's a consolidated invoice number. We talked about consolidated invoicing. If you bill more than one order to a customer on the same invoice, the customer sees this consolidated invoice number, 2017 CI-927. But they have both of these line items on the invoice. Okay. These two internal line items, these are for your purposes. These are for internal tracking purposes. Each line item in an invoice is a separate reporting unit in our accounts receivable system. So you'll see these numbers. And when you look at the transaction report, these are the numbers that are referenced when you're paying an invoice. When you see these invoice numbers, these are all the individual line items that have been paid. So here's your invoice search. You can tell at a glance which ones are consolidated invoices and which ones are not. One, by the invoice number, they have a CI in them, and number two, you have these little green lines coming down below, and you can tell that these belong to this invoice. Okay, so when you look there, another thing I want to point out about the invoice search, I only have 37 invoices in this result, but if I had 137 and I didn't want to page through, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to choose 1,000 per page. This is going to reload and it's going to let you scroll through all of your invoices as long as you don't have more than 1,000 in your search results. So it has less pagination that you can choose here. And lastly, this is one of our newer reports, and you're going to see this little hamburger up in the upper left-hand corner. Remember, all the new formats of our search reports have the search results in the main part of the screen, and there's an action panel hidden behind this icon. So you want to come up here, you want to click, and you want to open it up. Okay. These are the actions that used to be at the bottom of the invoice search screen, those of you who are used to the old invoice search. They're still here. They're tucked away in this left-hand panel. And once you pull up your invoices, you can preview an individual invoice by clicking on the invoice, which I just did, or you can select multiple invoices and you can click preview and you can page through them. I'm going to go next and next and next, and you see the invoices if you'd like. You can, if you need to void an invoice or unlock an invoice, you select the invoice here, you come here and you unlock, and then after you unlock it, you can come here and you can void the invoice. Just remember, if you're voiding an invoice that already has a payment on it, you need to come over and void the payment first so that then you can void the invoice that's attached to it. But that's how you unlock, how you void, and you send them to your advertisers with either print to PDF or email. And if you look here, if you select all and you print to PDF, you want to make sure that you choose print with payments if you want those prepayments that you've applied to the invoices to be reflected on them. So your client knows that's been applied and they only owe the balance. Make sure you check that print with payments box, either on print to PDF or on the email. And you can use this to print and mail or to email your invoices to your customers. Now, I want to give you another little teaser of something to come. Right now, when you use this email button, you are sending out the body of the invoice as a text document in the body of the email. That's what goes to your customers. We've got a little project on our development that our development team is working with for later. It will be later this year, probably, where we will be able to email your invoices as attachments to the email. And I know that's going to make a lot of my clients out there happy because there are a lot of people that have wanted that. So that's something that's coming. But for right now, you click email and it will email the invoices the same way that you've always been, or you print them to a PDF. And that is using the invoice search page. Last thing we want to look at, new section, is the statements page. I'm going to go into customers, accounts receivable, and we're going to look at the statements. This is the new statement page. A few changes on here. If you haven't noticed these, you can select by aging bucket. So if you don't want to send a statement to anybody who's current, you can control-click and come down here and you can choose all the other aging buckets, exclude that one, and you can do a quick search and you will exclude those people that have current invoices. So you can use these aging searches to help you as you are fine-tuning who you want to select and send your statement to. I'm going to go through here and unselect these. I'm going to click my reset, quickly clear that up. You can list all open transactions, or you can give all transactions for a date range, and you have these other ways you can search as well. I'm going to pull up a list of all open transactions as of May 1st because I want to include those. And I'm going to search. I'm going to get my search results and think about where we're going to go to do something with these. Remember, this is a new report. You're going to go up here and you're going to open the action panel. So you're going to click right here and you're going to choose your statement template that you want to use. I have clients who have multiple statement templates that they use based upon how far past due their accounts are, and they combine it with those aging buckets, and they use that as part of their accounts receivable collection efforts. You can send a little more strongly worded statement to those people who are 120 plus past days than you want to send to your current advertisers. So remember, you can have different statement templates available that you can pick and choose from. You do that right here. You can come over here to show everybody on one page like you did with the previous search we were on, and then you have various options that you can experiment with to see how the statement's going to look. For example, I'm going to do a preview of this statement. Let me select just one guy, all of them. I'm going to preview, and you can see this is what the statement is going to look like. It's going to have the consolidated invoice numbers on it if you're giving consolidated invoices to your customers. This is a relatively recent change in our statements. It was brought in last year. Very important because now our statements are reflecting the numbers that our advertisers are used to seeing. So we've had a lot more people using our statements now that we've got that consolidated invoice number on here. But you can preview, you can experiment with your different options, and then of course, just like with the invoices, you can print to PDF or you can email. So those are your options with your statement template. Now we're getting close to the end. I've gone over all the reports that I want to go over, but I've got something else exciting to show you, and that relates to the new contact layout. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to pull up one of my customers. Let's pick on somebody that we haven't looked at yet. Let's pull up Sunshine Hardware Company. I'm going to open the customer record. And our new layout has everything on one page, easy to get to, easy to reach. You no longer, if you're the accounts receivable person, are coming to the customer record and then clicking onto that extra details page and scrolling down to find the information about what they owe, what their balances are. It's right here on the main page under billing and financial, and soon you're even going to be able to customize this so that this is open by default. Not yet, but soon. So what you're going to see on here is a number of things. How many invoices are open? They have one. There's the number 1 right there. What's their activity like? You click right here. Here are all of their transactions, and you can see them. You can scroll through them. Huge, huge. This was never on the contact record before. Before, if you were a rep, a sales rep, you could look at the account. You could see a list of what they owed, but you couldn't see the transactions and you couldn't see the invoice detail. Let me just show you, refresh your memory as to what this used to look like. Here we go. Here's the billing, collections, and budgeting screen on the old contact layout for a selected customer. You can see the invoices here. There's nothing to click on to see transaction history, and there's no way to open these invoices up and look at them and see what's on the invoice. But now, not only can you see the transaction history, which I just love, but you can come right down here and you can click on this invoice. There's the invoice. So now your sales team can very easily see what was this invoice for that they owe. What do they owe? How many invoices do they owe? And have they been making payments? Well, I can quickly look. I can see what they owe, and I wonder when their last payment was. Well, I click right here, boom. Okay, they've been making payments all the way through April the 10th, so they're okay. Okay, so there's a lot of valuable information that you can get right now in this new contact layout, and as soon as your publisher is ready to convert to this new layout, this will be a feature that you can take advantage of. So I wanted to point that out to you because it's pretty exciting. I've used these this information for many, many years with a publishing company I was with, and this is something that I would have loved to have been able to take advantage of. So I'm excited for everybody out there. Okay. This concludes the presentation of the accounts receivable feature updates. I hope this has been useful. I know it's been a lot of information in the last hour. Remember to check your invoice creation page, my clients that have been with us for a long time, because you want to go back and you want to check for this. You want to make sure you have that consolidated invoicing option on there, and if you don't, grab your software consultant and they will take care of that and get that on for you so you can take advantage of all the new development that we're going to be doing down the pike. Wanted to tell you that we appreciate your feedback and your patience over the last 2 months as we've been rolling these things out. We really do try to listen and evaluate the feedback that we get, and these changes that I'm showing you that are coming out next month are a direct result of that feedback. So thank you for helping us improve our software. The extras, the enhancements that we noted today, the rep and the open balance on the received payment screen, the product totals on the customer account detail page, the flexible dating on the accounts receivable for prepay apply report, and those warning messages. All of those are going to be rolled out very soon, probably by mid-May. Oh, I forgot to tell you about the accounts receivable prepay flexible dating. Let me show you. I have 2 more minutes. You got to see this. What I want to do is I'm going to go to my testing site now. So bear with me. Sometimes this changes unexpectedly, but I'm going to pull up the accounts receivable customers accounts receivable prepay report. This is a tool that lets you go through and apply your prepayments in batch fashion to open accounts. So I'm going to go right here with prepay apply, and you can see that I can edit these dates. So I can use this to apply those May 1st payments. I don't have to go to the receive payment screen. I can use this report and I can do them in batch. I can pull up my report as of May 1st and my payment date as of May 1st, and I can view it. And I'll be able to see on here, here are May 1st invoices, here is a prepayment on the account, and I can apply these. So I'm going to select these invoices. And I'm going to do this for any customer that has prepayments that I can apply to the invoices. And I'm going to go down to the bottom of the page. I'm going to click Apply Selected Prepays, and I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to get a confirmation message that shows me successfully, I hope, prepayments that have been applied. Here's one that was skipped. The amount was incorrect on there, so I need to go back and recheck that one customer. If I pull this report again, they're gonna be in here again, and they're gonna show as not applied yet. Okay, look at one up here, Carrie Goldberg at the very top. Or this one, let's look at Hetty Company. You can see they have a current balance, they have a prepay, and it's not showing as available to be applied. This is the case where that $223 is available in these two products, okay, HA and Test HV2. This invoice is neither one of those products. So this accounts receivable with prepay apply report is trying to protect you from accidentally posting the payments to a product where you have them reserved for. You can see that these are entirely different products with these invoices than where the money is available. So you can still do this prepayment application, you just can't use this report. You would need to jump right back in here and go into accounts receivable, and you would gonna go into, where is customers, accounts receivable, you're going to go to the received payment report, you're going to pull your customer up and you're going to do it there, and the system will let you transfer. Okay, now I've got about 30 seconds left. So that concludes our presentation of accounts receivable. Remember to use the accounts receivable prepay apply report. Right now you cannot change the dates. You have to pull it as of today's date and apply the payments as of today's date. But by the middle of May, you will be able to pull that report up and change the dates and use it to apply all the payments for those May 1 invoices that you created early. All right, thanks for joining us, everybody. Remember, you'll get a recording, you'll get the questions from the webinar, and please come back and join us for our next webinar. Thank you.